I'm Rabbi Wolk, the community chaplain with Jewish Family Service. The services that our agency offers are available to the entire community. If someone would like to speak to a counselor, would like to speak to me privately, please feel free to contact Jewish Family Service. Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, the food pantry is available for people to drive by and pick up important provisions. This coming Thursday, September 17, there are also Rosh Hashanah food boxes available of kosher food. And if necessary, arrangements can be made to have food delivered as well. We are in the shadow of Rosh Hashanah, the start of the Jewish New Year. By all accounts, this has not been a good year on many different levels. Pandemic affecting all of us, affecting the entire world, downward trends on the economy, many people out of work, looking for work, people who have suffered losses in family, in the community. So it's really been I would say, a very bitter year. And so perhaps the question is, how do we approach the start of the new year? What should be our focus? What should be our outlook as we approach the year 5781? I would submit from a Jewish perspective, we have to approach it with optimism and hopefulness. The Mayo Clinic did a study a number of years ago, and they said that there's something that a person can do that can extend his or her life for up to 7 years, along with diet and exercise, which are always good. The Mayo Clinic said that if one has a positive approach to things, one is hopeful, positive thinking, it can extend a person's life. And I think from a Jewish perspective, that is our outlook for the new year. That as difficult as the old one has been, we're closing that chapter, and God willing, the new year will be one of positive things and good health and good experiences. A couple of years ago, a man wrote a story about a friend of his, Michael. And he said, Michael is the type of person that you would love to hate. He was always entirely positive. If you'd ask Michael, how you feeling? He would say, I'm feeling great. I'm so good, in fact, I could be twins. If an employee came to Michael with a complaint, Michael would look at the positive side of it. He would always give the person a positive advice. And the friend asked Michael, finally, how do you do it? How do you approach each day with such a positive outlook? And Michael said, well, when I get up in the morning, I say to myself, I have two choices. I can choose to be in a good mood, or I can choose to be in a bad mood. I always choose to be in a good mood. A person can choose to be a victim, or they can choose to learn from every experience. And no matter what a person came to Michael to complain about, he would always turn it on its side and look at the positive way. So the friend writes that Michael said a person has choices, and choices how to react to situations, how to react in terms of our own experience to losses, to pandemic, etc. Well, the friend moved away and he kind of lost contact with Michael. And then he heard that Michael had a terrible accident. Michael fell some 50 feet from a communication tower, and he had 18 hours of surgery and intensive physical therapy. And finally, when Michael was released from the hospital, he had rods placed in his back. The friend writes that he saw Michael about 6 months after his surgery, and he asked Michael about it. He asked him, how are you feeling? And Michael said, I feel great. If I felt any better, I would be twins. Do you want to see my scars? And the friend said, no, I don't want to see your wounds, but I want to ask you, what were you thinking about when you first fell from that tower? And Michael said, the first thought that went through my mind was my soon-to-be-born daughter. And then as I lay on the ground, I remembered that I had two choices. I could choose to live, or I could choose to die. I chose to live. Well, weren't you scared? Did you lose consciousness? And Michael continued, the paramedics, they were great. They assured me I would be fine. However, when they rolled me into the emergency room, I saw on the expressions on the faces of the doctors and nurses that they looked at me like I was a dead man. And I knew at that moment I had to take action. Well, what did you do? Well, Michael said there was a big burly nurse who was yelling questions at me, all kinds of things. And finally she asked me, am I allergic to anything? Yes, I replied. The doctors and nurses stopped what they were doing and they listened intently to his reply. With a deep breath, Michael said, yes, I'm allergic to gravity. Over the laughter of the nurses and doctors, he said to them, I'm choosing to live. Please look at me as someone who was living, not as someone who was dead. Michael lived thanks to the skill of his doctors, but also because I think of his amazing attitude, his attitude for life, his attitude for to be positive, and his desire to grow as an individual. I think these are the types of challenges and opportunities we all have in the new year. Each person is precious to God. Each person has an individual I-thou relationship with the Almighty. And our hope and our prayer and our actions should all be positive in the new year. Shana Tova, a happy and healthy year to everyone. Thank you.